So here we are, the end of another week in Project 2020. We have now seen every single card in week number 24. And when you think about the print runs that have posted so far this week, are we seeing a change of the guard? We still have 18 weeks left to go in Project 2020, but let's talk about that and more in 1 second. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to episode number 81 of the Project 2020 show. My name is Chris, otherwise known as @CRT_Sportscards on Twitter and Instagram, and the best website for everything related to Project 2020 is my website, CRTSportscards.com. Hopefully you had an enjoyable week with Project 2020. I ran into some issues with timing of work and then the shorter days right now, so I was unable to put together a show on Wednesday, so I apologize for the abrupt nature of not posting up an episode this week. I have purchased some better lighting for the office to where I can now do episodes at night, so that should never happen again going forward through the project. So while that will help the long-term perspective of the show, let's talk about the short term. Let's talk about this week. Let's break down every card that released. Let's talk about my favorites, my card of the week, and then we're going to talk about the print runs on the back half of this as far as what we know at the moment. But before we talk about the cards from this past week, let's do some quick housekeeping notes and some just sort of project news overall. Number one, I really hope you caught the article in The Athletic around Project 2020. It was mainly centered around Keith Shore, his Griffey, but it also talked about Efdot. They talked to Wheeler Collection. They talked to Blake Jamieson. A lot of people involved in the project were included in this article. It was a really well done, very long piece in my opinion for Project 2020. So check out that website, check out that article. And if you're not a member of The Athletic, I would do the free trial just to read it. It's a really great article overall, and it's really what I'm hoping that we're going to see more and more as the months go on through the fall and through the back half of the year, is just more publicity from other sources other than like Beckett, other than like just Topps around this set, because if we can get more people into this set overall, it's going to be better for us in the moment. Second one here is the MLB just put out a list on MLB.com of the 14 best rookie cards or 14 best Ripken cards to own, and sure enough, card number 14 was Matt Taylor's Cal Ripken Jr. card. So it was great to see that card make that list. It's great to see right now any Project 2020 card make any sort of list for the masses. So again, two great articles got posted up and two great things around Project 2020. So I'm sort of keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to see more of this as the year goes by. From a shipping perspective, Topps is now shipping cards up to over 160, so that is great to see. We are though nearly in the 230s, or we are in the 230s, so we're still about 70 cards behind. I won't be excited too much or think we're in a good spot until we're only about 20 or maybe 30 cards behind. Being behind a couple weeks is fine, but we're still behind 70 cards. At one time, we were behind by over 100. So it's good to see the backlog, getting filled, but we need it to come faster and faster and faster now that these print runs are coming down even further at the moment. And then just on Twins Jake, he has posted up another update on his website. So that's good to see. It did take a couple of weeks since his other update. It looks like at the moment he's shipping cards from orders from June 2nd to June 3rd. So he obviously is well behind everyone else at the moment. But if you have cards with him, keep reaching out, keep asking for updates. But it is good to see the second update for his orders. Hopefully we see more as the weeks go by and they're more regular going forward. But now let's get to the cards of this week and let's pick my favorite from week 24, because you know what? It was difficult. I purchased 5 of the 10 that came out. So taking us back all the way to Monday, the first 2 cards released in Project 2020. We had Sophia Chang with her Tony Gwynn and Andrew Theo with his Bob Gibson. Here again on the Andrew Theo card, I say this every single time with the Theo card, there is so much detail in it. There's so much going on, but in a positive way. I just wish these cards were larger, 8x10, 9x11, something larger, because so much of his detail, some of his hard work to me gets lost in these smaller cards. But it was another great Bob Gibson. The pink is striking. It stands out very, very well. And then on Sophia Chang, the Tony Gwynn, another classic Sophia Chang design. We know what we're going to get from her on all of her cards. They are great to see. I did really appreciate the 18 dimes reference to when he was a basketball player. So that was a really deep reference that you're really not going to understand or get by just a surface level research of Tony Gwynn. So When you look at the Monday cards, it was a difficult decision here because I really liked the Theo card, but I went with the Tony Gwynn by Sophia Chang just because of the basketball reference. I thought that was a really deep reference, and it really made me want to pick that card over the Gibson. And on Monday, I did not purchase any of these cards. So Monday for me was a free day in Project 2020. Now taking a look at the Tuesday releases, it really was an all-star release day. When you think of Efdot and you think of Blake Jamieson, there are no two artists right now in the Project 2020 community that can move the needle in the current environment like these two artists can. Now, Blake Jamieson released his Dwight Gooden and Efdot released his Mike Trout. I will give it to Efdot here from the promo perspective. His video talking about this Mike Trout card was just hilarious, and it was so great. I am not collecting Efdot specifically. I have thought about it. I picked up his Mark McGuire card more for a stash perspective for the future here this week, but I did purchase 5 Mike Trouts just out of respect for the video, and I thought it was a really, really great card overall. Looking at the Dwight Gooden by Blake Jamieson, my only real critique with that card was it looked a little orange to me on his face, and then one of the stripes on his face or the lines kind of went over the cheek. And so for that perspective, I did go with the Mike Trout by Efdot as my card of the day. But it's very simple. These two cards, just like the Sophia Chang, Tony Gwynn, very much in line with what we expect from the artist as we move through the back half of the year. So again, 2 great releases, but I did spend some money on Tuesday with purchasing 5 Mike Trouts. Now the Wednesday cards, this is where it got expensive for me, and I started to realize that I think all of my cards of people I collect or artists I collect are going to be released this week. On Wednesday, we had Ben Baller release his Ted Williams, and we had Grotesque released his Sandy Koufax. Both of these cards were really, really great, and it's really difficult for me to pick a favorite on these 2 cards. But on the Ben Baller, I really like this card. I don't know if it beats the Ichiro, which right now is, I think, my favorite card of Ben Baller's. But when you look at Ted Williams, you see the original photo from the first game at Fenway. You see the 406. You see the Williams himself, Teddy ball game. I thought it was a really well done card altogether. There was some diamonds on it, there was some ice, but I thought it was a very clean design overall. On the Grotesque Sandy Koufax, it is what you expect from Grotesque at this moment. His set continues to improve every single card, and he plays with the lettering, he plays with his figures. Everything works for the player, and it's period specific. I do understand there are people out there who, are collecting Koufax and wanted another horizontal card, but we got it vertical, but it keeps with Grotesque style overall. But when you think about my favorite, which ones did I purchase? I actually purchased both of these in 5X lots because I'm putting together Ted Williams set and the Grotesque set. So now I'm up to 15 cards purchased for the week, but I did go with the Grotesque card. I think it's a very clean example of his style, and it's going to fit very well with the Koufax collection overall at the end of the day. Now moving on to Thursday, we had the release of Joshua Vides with his George Brett and Gregory Siff with his Ken Griffey Jr. When you think of the Vides George Brett, this is what you expect from Joshua Vides. You have the mix of the Dwight Gooden background additions with the lines of like the Koufax. There's no real surprises. I keep waiting for a black and white card, but I think at this moment it's not coming. The artists are settling into their routine for these cards, and very few are changing up their style this late into the set. So, the Vides card is what it is. If you're collecting Brett, you're going to pick it up. If you're collecting Vides, you're going to pick it up. But if you're not sold on either one of those, I don't think this card makes you go purchase, this card on the back end. Taking a look at the Gregory Siff, Ken Griffey Jr., in my opinion, this is the best Griffey in the set at the moment. I really, really like this card. Thankfully, there's no pink in it. I don't understand what the recent fascination was with pink on the last 2 versions, but what really stood out to me was the blue and yellow border from the original card. It was super bold in this card, and I thought it was a very, very well done card of Griffey. I really hope you got to catch the video around Gregory Siff talking about his father, talking about Ken Griffey Jr.'s father in the card. I thought it was a great card overall for Gregory Siff. And here again, I did purchase 5. So going into Friday, I had purchased 20 cards for the week. And then on Friday, sure enough, there was another artist card release that I collect when they released the Natural Mariano. If they had just released a JK5 card this week, I would have been 6 for 6, but thankfully I was only 5 for 6 on the week with this Natural Mariano. But alongside that Mariano was the King Saladin Mark McGwire. When you look at the King Saladin Mark McGwire and you go back to the Frank Thomas, his recent release, I understand that he changed his image, he flipped it around. I like the McGwire, but I don't know if it really needed to be changed like the Frank Thomas did. I was expecting something like this with his Frank Thomas, but we got it with the Mark McGwire. It's again another very straightforward King Saladin release, and if you're collecting McGwire and you're collecting King Saladin, you are gonna like this card. But it just isn't my favorite of the day because of the Mariano by Natural. I really think this possibly is one of the best Marianos in the set. The card itself is boring, not the Natural version, the Mariano card is boring, but with his design style, the way he puts his cards together, it adds some real life to it, and I really do like the Mariano. But again, it's a very, very plain card. If you're not a fan of Mariano or Natural, you're not going to buy this card. It's very simple. But I did really like this card. But when you take a look at all 10 cards of the week, which one was my favorite? So considering I purchased 5 of the 10 cards for the week, this decision for the card of the week was very, very difficult. But when it came down to it, the one card that I want to own, if I only had to pick one of the 10, it is going to be the Gregory Siff Ken Griffey Jr. for a couple of different reasons. Number one, as I said earlier, the message of like father, like son, the photo of, or the drawing of Ken Griffey Sr. on the card, the Kingdom, so many great small details in the card. This is just another outstanding piece of work of Gregory Siff, and he is slowly moving up my list of favorite artists. Not there over Natural and Grotesque just yet, but I really think he is number 3 at the moment, and as we continue to move through the set, I could very easily see myself having him finish number 1 on my list at the end of the day, but this is just another fantastic card by Gregory Siff. I'm curious though, when you look back at the week as a whole, what is your favorite card and what did you purchase? Leave a comment below and let's get the discussion going around your favorite card of the week in Project 2020. Thanks for watching the video so far, and if you're a fan of Project 2020 and this is the first time you're seeing me, hit that subscribe button so you know the moment I post up a video, either one of my bi-weekly videos or one of my artist series videos. Hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date, as this is the home of Project 2020 here on YouTube. Now, taking a look at the print runs that we know at the moment, right now, Sunday morning, we only have 6 of the 10. There's a chance that by the time this video gets posted, we will have the Thursday print runs because they're a complete day late at the moment. But when you think about the print runs from the overall perspective, and one sort of minor fact here when it comes into my projections on the website every single day, we have seen since about card 203, 204, the eBay penetrations just fall off a cliff. And that's for one simple reason. There are very few eBay pre-sellers out there these days. A majority of people are either going to individual person's websites and they're ordering from Topps, or people are moving to Topps altogether. So as we see these pre-order totals get lower and lower, they don't necessarily mean the print run's gonna be low. On some of the cards they are, like the Sophia Chang or the Bob Gibson Andrew Thiel. Those are both very, very low because those artists right now are not moving the needle like an Efdot or a Blake Jamieson are. So when you take a look at those numbers, I'm doing my best sort of projection going forward on these cards. I am at the moment 4 for 6, which is nice. The only 2 I've missed, I've been very close on, but the pre-order totals are gonna be low going forward. And I'll put up the graph right now of eBay penetration rates, and you can see how it just falls off a cliff. And I think we're gonna see that going forward. But when you think about these numbers, and you see the 6 print runs, what is the biggest call out? And look, right now print runs are not the biggest thing. They are to a degree, but I think they will be in a couple of years. But in the moment, there is one big note from the week. And the simple fact is this: somebody outsold Ben Baller. And when I put it up on Twitter that Efdot outsold Ben Baller, everyone ran to the fact that, oh, it's Mike Trout. I'm sorry. This is not a Mike Trout number. This is an Efdot number. The fan base is behind Efdot right now. People are buying Efdot's cards more than they have been in the past. The moment that Ben Baller sold 36,000, Cal Ripkins or 12,000 Marianos, everybody said one thing: it's because of Ben Baller. But the moment Efdot outsells Ben Baller and they say, oh, it's Mike Trout, you're not giving the artist the credit they deserve to drive a print run. When you think about Ben Baller's card, only 7,000 Ted Williams. That's a very, very low number on Ben Baller. But again, you can see he didn't push this card. He was very silent on Twitter around this Ted Williams. And sure enough, Efdot was all over Twitter, all over social media about his Mike Trout. So it's great to see that Ben Baller got outsold, because Ben Baller has been the leader in the clubhouse for so many weeks, since the beginning of the project, really, around Project 2020. But as we move through the back half of the year, there are going to be new artists emerge as the leading sort of print run people. And right now, in the moment, Efdot is the artist to chase, because he just put up nearly 10,000 cards in a very, very soft print run market in Project 2020. And from a channel perspective, I did yesterday just release episode number 7 of 20 in our Project 2020 artist series, where I break down every artist's first 10 cards. Yesterday was Keith Shore, so take a look at that. And also, I'm looking for more lists of artists I have not covered up to this moment. I've got a couple for JK5 and Gregory Siff, but if you're looking to have your list possibly included in an upcoming video, send me a message on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or email me, Chris@CRT Sportscards. The key I'm looking for are some notes around every player or every card. I don't need it to be very deep or in depth. I just need some understanding of why you put a card in a certain spot, so I can riff on that during the video. But please take a look at those videos. They're a lot of fun to put together, and they're fun to look back at an artist's first 10 cards in Project 2020. Now, what is not so fun to take a look at right now is the market as a whole. And over the past couple of weeks, whether it be first player, second player, Forgotten 7, we are seeing the values continue to drop and drop. And when you take a look at the last 2 weeks, we are at the bottom value on a majority of these cards. So the market is continuing to soften every single day. We are not really seeing that positive bump. We're not seeing any rebound from August, and now we're 6 or 7 days into September, and it's again turning into be a very difficult month. We will see what happens. The biggest challenge I have, or biggest sort of question mark I have, is if there is more publicity for this set, if more websites outside of The Athletic and the other websites start picking up these cards more and more, do we see people come into this set? It's too difficult to say right now. I am still picking up cards that I think are good value at the moment. Like I picked up the Efdot Mark McGuire. I picked up 2 Jacob Rochester Cal Ripkins. I am looking for those deals out there, and I'm basing all of my decisions on my pricing on the website. But as I'm talking right now, I'm gonna have the first player, second player, and Forgotten 7 charts kind of show up on the screen here. But use these charts to make the right buying decisions. The key right now is do not reach. And what we're seeing is a lot of high buy it nows, but if you can pick and choose auctions, you can find good deals out there. But do not overpay for a card right now. There is no guarantee that September, the end of the month, or October 10th or November 11th, that these cards are gonna be higher priced. There's no guarantee. I wish they would. I wish there was a guarantee, but there's nothing guaranteed in life. So we will see what happens, but all I know is right now, if you are a long-term believer in the set and you think of this term, and you think of this set in the historical perspective it is, in a couple of years, the values on these low printed cards are there at the moment. I'm still struggling to really figure out where the cards in the 2000s are. As we see more cards print in the 2000s, we are seeing a little more of a depression in those cards. The biggest one to me is the King Griffey Jr. King Saladin. That card always felt overpriced and with a very high 2000 print run card. And now when you see more cards in that 2K range, I think that's the group of cards with the biggest question mark at the moment. So take a look at those. Don't reach on those, but on cards in the thousands, and if you can find a deal, I would pick them up personally. I'm doing that myself, but take a look at the numbers. I update them every single day, every morning, so you can reference them before you make a purchase. Hope you liked the video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more news and notes from me around Project 2020, check out that playlist on the screen right now.